go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Absolutely. This is Shawn. I'm Shawn Day. I am in the great state of Ohio, Northeast Ohio, just 30 minutes, maybe 20, 30 minutes east of Cleveland, Ohio. And I can drive the same amount of distance and hit the Pennsylvania border. So that's where I'm at. Right now, we had 70 degrees today, so that's good in Cleveland. We're going to have snow this weekend. So that's when you know spring is here in Cleveland, you know. And I'm in a snow belt area, Kimberly. So literally, it can snow 2 feet of snow on top of us, and you can drive 15 minutes, and there might only be 2 or 3 inches of snow on the ground. It's just right over Lake Erie. It can sit there forever for us. But I'm a small business owner, an entrepreneur. It's for real close to 35 years now. And that's me. And that's it, world. That's Shawn Day.
Can you go ahead and talk about your beautiful past, with, like including your family on this, leading up into your present?
Absolutely. So family is very dear to me. So I'll start with that. My wife and I have been married for 31 years this October. And it took us 12 years to have our first child. So it was a roller coaster, trying to have. We had tried and tried and tried. And our boy took us one night. So we had 12 years and then one night. And it's a roller coaster ride. So it's an interesting thing to be married as long as I have been married for 30 years with my wife. We were high school, went to the same high school and all that stuff together. My kids are now teenagers, but most of my friends have grandchildren now. So I'm sort of behind the 8 ball, and I think it's great. I love to have their teenagers. One's driving now and all that. My business side of it, I started in the corporate world, and this is probably a usual story for small business owners and entrepreneurs, but I started at Enterprise Rent-A-Car about almost 35 years ago. And what had happened was, I was at the rental counter, like everybody that's rented a car knows about Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And I was there for a few months, and they promoted me into what they called the fleet management department. So Enterprise doesn't just rent cars, but my job was to pick up the phone as a young kid in Cleveland, Ohio, 24 years old. This was in Detroit, Michigan at the time. And so that's the motor city of all the world. That's the car industry of all the world. I'm a 24-year-old kid from Cleveland. Hi, I know more about cars than you, Mr. CEO, Mr. CFO. Can you sit down and let me talk to you about that? You know, yeah. I was really good at it, though. I worked super hard. It was the cold calling, man. I just cold called, pounded that phone. And my job was to get in front of people or sell or get on the phone. That was my job. Nothing in between. Pound the phone, get in front of people. So that's what I did. I was successful at it. I actually was offered to open up the city of Toledo. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to open up Cleveland because that's where my family was. So there were I only lasted just about a year, or maybe a little bit more than a year there. I was making $68,000 a year. This is almost 35 years ago now. And I was 24 years old. 401k matching at a company car, obviously with Enterprise. They would invite the best salespeople in the company across the country to St. Louis, where the headquarters is. And so it's a great company. I learned an awful lot, but one day I walked in, here's the scoop. One day I walk in and nobody's around, and I go, where's everybody at? Oh, the GM's here, man. I'm not going to mention names. The GM's here. He's got the salespeople back, and then he is upset about this and that. And I said, what the hell's going on? So I walk back there, and he is literally, I can't use the language. I can't use language that he was calling us. And he was going to, and you're nothing, you're worthless, you're this, you're that. And he had department heads in there as well from other departments to help with the embarrassing, degrading people. I don't know how else to put it. And a couple months ago, they flew me as one of the best salesmen in the country out to St. Louis. And I'm thinking, what the hell did I do? So he comes to me with his yellow pad, and I'm like, yeah. And he looks, and he's kind of going, he goes, all he could come up with, Kimberly, was, you don't take enough customers out to lunch. And I go, you know what, Mike? Well, can't mention names. I said, You know what?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm passionate about this. So I said, I can't do this. I go, I'll tell you what, you pay me to pound the phone or sell something. If you want to meet me after I'm done doing that at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., I'll meet you anywhere you want to meet. Right now, I got to go to work. And that's what I did. I went home and I told, I don't know that we were married yet, but my fiance, who I'm married to now, I told her I can't do this anymore. The way that he treated people and the way that he was going to treat me is inexcusable, unacceptable. I don't want anything to do with it. Then to find out they won't give me Cleveland because they don't make money off Shawn Day in Cleveland. In Toledo, it's part of the Detroit group. They'll make money off Shawn Day in Detroit or in Toledo. They're not looking out after my best interest then either at that point. So I said, I'm done. And at the time, I had bought a couple rental properties, and I was getting in a little bit into the rental game. And I think I had 2 or 3 properties. And so I got to know a mortgage broker really well. So I said, hey, how do you start one of these mortgage broker companies? And that's exactly what I did. I got my mortgage license, and I started a mortgage company. And I've never looked back, and I've not been self-employed ever since.
Tell me also about your cleaning business that you sold in 2015.
Yeah. So I got out of the mortgage business. I had the mortgage company for about 10 years. And what had happened was I used to take all my mortgage information, the title work, to a title company who I knew the person there. And she was in the business for years, knew more than anybody. And one day she looks at me, and those of you that can remember the crisis, the mortgage crisis and the housing crisis, when the subprime stuff came around, and sort of the risky, really high risk loans. I didn't know much about it. I was just doing my job and doing my business. And she says, oh my goodness, now Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are doing these subprime junk loans now. Something terrible is about to happen. That's all I needed to hear. It smacked me in the face. And I said, I'm done. I said, I got rid of my mortgage company. And the only reason I started a cleaning company was because I knew my mom was getting ready to retire, and I needed something for her to do and to keep busy. And she had worked for her sister for 28 years or something like that. And so she retired, and the mortgage, there's really not much she can do in the mortgage business. So I started a cleaning company. Mm-hmm. And the cleaning company was all about, Mom, I need somebody to help with payroll and all these other things. I can go on for hours about stories with my mom and that sort of thing with it. She's hilarious. But so I got into the cleaning business, had the cleaning company for about almost 20 years, and got it built up to around 40 employees, technicians that were out cleaning for me. Had maybe 4 people helping me steer the ship and manage everything and everybody. I had a conversation with my wife, and I said, we've been doing this a long time now, sweetheart. I think we need to talk about what's the end game with this company. We built it up. It's a good sized company now. How do we get rid of this company and do some other things? And I said, it's probably going to take a couple years to get the processes in place and the systems and get it in shape so that it's a turnkey operation for somebody to really, anybody could operate it. And I was trying to work on that. And I had that down pretty well, but not well enough to increase the value of my asset, my business. I wanted to increase the value. So I said, it's probably going to take a year or two. Maybe are you into it? Are you on board with this? She says, absolutely. Kimberly, 3 months later, I sold the business. This is what happened. Not 2 years, 3 months later, I sold the business. So I emailed somebody that I knew relatively well, not real well, but knew he had a cleaning company in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I went through LinkedIn, which wasn't a real big thing at the time as far as communicating and email and messaging. And I did that, nothing. So I got a business broker. I said, can you at least tell me what it's worth? And he did. I said, okay. I talked to my wife. She's like, let's do it, man. Let's try to get rid of it. That's a good price, right? So the day before I was going to sign paperwork to sell with the business broker, the day before, I get a call from the guy that I messaged a couple times because I thought maybe I could sell it to him. He's in Cincinnati. I knew he was in the cleaning business. He said, whatever. He goes, I just got the message that, I told my email. He goes, I don't even use that email anymore. I just got the LinkedIn message though. Don't do anything. I just sold my business 3 months ago to this company. You're going to want to maybe sell it to them. And they've hired me actually to look for other cleaning companies to buy. And I said, I'm signing papers tomorrow. You know, I'm doing this. He goes, just promise. So I said, okay, I'll look into it and see. And long story short, we went back and forth a little bit with the owner of this company. They owned an exterior cleaning company. I was more inside the buildings and homes doing the inside. And so we came to an agreement, and you know, the owner of the company that bought mine flew in, sat down in my office for about 6 hours. We talked about business and the numbers and how we need to get to a point where we both can sign this paper and feel comfortable with it. That was about 2 of the 6 hours. The other 4 hours, we talked about people, our spirituality, our how we treat people in situations, and family and things like that. And I knew I can sign the papers after we had that 6-hour discussion. And it was literally for a substantial amount more than what that business broker was going to say he could sell my business for. It was substantially more. And so that all worked out really well. And then from there, and this was in 2015, from there, he says, what are you going to do after we buy your company? And I said, I'm too young to retire. I was only 50 at the time, and I wasn't financially secure. I still had kids that were young. I had to save for college and still, you know, all those sort of things. So no, it wasn't the retirement and I'm done. I said, I'm not sure. I go, I do know this. Any job I take, the next job I take, if it's a job, it's going to be my last one. I know that. So he said, let me think about it. So they kept me on. And they basically wanted me to put the business model together for everything that we were doing and the cleaning end of it. I said, sure. And so we did. And we grew to about 100 employees at that time. And what had happened then was we've got to start a full-time recruiting division because it's a high turnover industry and we're just churning and burning and constantly recruiting. And it was a constant thing. And it was a constant problem. And so we had a big conversation about it. I'm the one that brought it up. So they were the ones that said, since you brought it up, why don't you see what we can do? And we started a recruiting division. And it took me about 1.5 years to put some things together. And the things I knew was I wanted it to be automated as much as possible. And this is now almost 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago. So the automation and AI and stuff are a hell of a lot different today than it was just back then, right? So I wanted it automated. I wanted it to work in multiple parts of the country because we were in about 6 states at that time. And we had about 11 businesses that we owned at that time in 6 states. So it had to work in multiple parts of the country. And then I wanted it to be data driven. I believe that data is so important because if I can collect data, especially people data, behavioral data, and if, you know, employee data, to me, that equals consistency. Data equals consistency. And so that's what we ended up doing. And that's where I'm at today with Hire Lead and Chill. Well, there's a little bit more to get to Hire Lead and Chill, but that's what we did. We started a full-time recruiting division, and it worked really well.
You sound like an innovation leader, somebody that leads by design, somebody that creates like big talent. You know, you create, you design, you are the leader in your own innovation. So can you tell me a little bit about your podcast?
Sure. So what happened with the podcast, I never wanted to do the podcast. I had no interest in doing a podcast or Facebook Lives or any of that stuff. So back to the how this happened was, not only did we start a full-time recruiting department, but we had to start a full-time bookkeeping department. And so what had happened was our intention at that time, Kimberly, was just to do that stuff for our own company. And so we'd go to a convention and we'd have a couple beers or something with our buddies that own cleaning companies. And everybody was complaining about finding employees. I'm like, we got that nailed, man. I said, we got that nailed. what are you talking about, And
Yeah.
we got this system we put together. It's working great, man. I wish you luck, dude, Well, can you help me find a couple window cleaners, man? I'm like, where you at? Washington, D.C., Virginia. I don't know. We don't do this for other people. So the innovation and sort of a revolutionary thing was happening here. And we didn't quite see an opportunity yet, but we were. And the cool thing about me and my partner, Dan, is we weren't profit motivated at that time. We were just trying to help people, help our colleagues, our friends. And so, all right, man, I'll help. I guess we can try to help you. I guess what we'll do is we'll just throw you on our system that we've already created, because we'll treat you like another location of ours. And just throw your stuff on ours and see what happens, Well, a couple of weeks goes by and he calls me up. He's like, dude, you got me 4 window cleaners. They're awesome. And they've been here now a couple of weeks. And you gotta send me an invoice. I gotta pay you for this. I'm like, we don't do this for other people. I don't even know what to charge for this, And he just pounded me. He's like, Kimberly, he's just pounding me. So our first invoice was for a case of beer. I had no idea what to charge. So I'm like, invoice him for a case of beer. I know he likes this beer, and tell him, that was our first invoice. So we started to get together. The bookkeeping guy, Dan, he is a financial genius, but he's a blue collar guy. He likes ice fishing. He likes light beers. He's in Minnesota, and that's his thing. He goes, you got to get a podcast. I got this going. I got thousands, and I'm having fun with it, Shawn. His was called Bookkeeping, Beer, and BS. So right? Perfect. He's the only guy that can make bookkeeping fun. Bookkeeping, beer, and BS. So what had happened was, literally just about 8 months ago, the vision of the company that we were with and Dan and I's vision started to part ways. And so we really saw, and we feel that there's going to be and this is some of the innovation here. There's going to be some time soon where I think that you're going to have software that is going to be almost tribal, where I don't want a software that just recruits or a company that just does recruiting. I want one piece of software where I can go for my marketing stuff, my recruiting stuff, my bookkeeping stuff, and whatever else it is. And on one platform, I want this to happen. And so we think there's going to be a real need for community things and a lot of free content and value. And that's what we want to do. And so what we came up with, we decided to part ways with that company and start our own thing. And we called it Hire Lead Chill. And that's the name of the recruiting company that we own. But we also wanted that to be the name of the podcast. And so one of the things, and so that's sort of the innovative way that we said, listen, we had to do something for our own company. We got really good at it, and people organically were attracted to it. And we said, maybe and we said to our buddies and our colleagues, what do you think this is worth? Because we're not like we're not a staffing agency. We're not a temp agency. We're not a direct recruiting agency, which those are all out there. What we do is we act as your full-time recruiting department, where we do it a lot like a marketer would with Facebook ads or Google ads, where you pay a management fee and then they say, here's how much you need to spend on advertising on Google ads, and we'll manage all of that for you. We'll manage your Facebook ads and create them and do all of that. That's what we do, except it's for recruiting. So we will put together, your job titles, your job descriptions. We'll manage Indeed stuff and tell you how to do these things. We've got a system that they go through where we screen and score each candidate that comes through. That's not what a temp agency does. Those people have been around forever, and direct recruiting agencies, they take a percentage of what they do and they'll place somebody, and then they want paid for that.
Do you use AI algorithms for your
Great
company?
question.
Yeah.
So AI, I love AI. Okay. The only problem right now, as far as recruiting is concerned, AI doesn't understand the job platform's algorithms, their guidelines, when they change their guidelines. Like Indeed, I always say, I'm going to interject a little humor here. So when I go out and speak, I'll get on stage, and most people aren't in love with Indeed because it's very difficult. They change the rules a lot, and you get a lot of application flow, but most of them aren't the best candidates. So, but it's the biggest, baddest platform out there. So we've got to use it. So I used to say in my presentations, how many love Indeed? And everybody, you could hear the whole audience rumble, right? And I would say it this way, and I got called out on this. I would say Indeed is like my 16-year-old girlfriend. I love her. I don't want her near me. I need her. I can't stand her.
Yeah.
And somebody said, dude, you got a 16-year-old girl? I go, no. So I changed it. Now I say, Indeed's like my 16-year-old girlfriend when I was 16.
Yeah.
All right. So I had to change it. But the AI, yeah, we use a lot of AI for different things, and we're starting to use it for a little bit more about screening your current employees. Not so much. We've got a scoring system that's a proprietary type of scoring system that you'll never find by Googling or YouTubing. Like a candidate can go on and find, and this is a little revolutionary and innovative as well. A candidate can go on Google, they can go on YouTube, and they can find out, and you can YouTube it. There'll be 100 YouTube guys and gals that are on there telling you how to answer the predictive index stuff, how to answer the assessments, how you should answer the disc profile if you're applying for this job. So there's a little bit of cheat sheet stuff going on out there. Google, you can Google it too. You can probably AI it now too. I promise you that I am not important enough that it is showing up on Google or YouTube anywhere. Shawn Day's proprietary scoring system and how you should answer the questions. That's not available out there. And we change a little bit of the way that we score it too, so that it can't be figured out. So that's innovative. But AI is something that we think is really important. We use it for some things. I use it almost daily. There's some things that but I always come back, Kimberly, and I say, but we're still in the people business. We're still in the people business. And I just got off my podcast and had a guest on that was all about communication and AI. And she should be somebody you'll want on your show too. And I'll get you guys connected. She's phenomenal. Yeah. TEDx speaker. She's phenomenal. And she's on Matchmaker with us. So you'll be able to get hooked up with her, and I'll tell you all about that when we get off. We were talking about AI and how it's going to affect some things. And I said, and her and I came up, and we basically agreed that there's going to be a premium on how to communicate with human beings, because we already see this, right? We see this being dampened by just social media. Forget AI. The communication skills have been dampened, and how to socialize at conventions in front of customers. Now, is your AI going to take your customer out to lunch? I don't think so. How are you going to engage with that client? Are you going to go to a convention where some of your clients are and some of your colleagues? How are you going to know how to AI is? What are you going to take AI with you and say, talk to my AI because I don't know how to socialize? I think there's going to be a premium on that. Communicating and socializing. So to answer your question, yes, absolutely, it's powerful in certain ways, but if you rely on it for your job titles and job descriptions, you're going to miss some certain keywords and algorithm changes on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and Facebook. Facebook changed a lot of things they're doing with Meta, and their things with Meta. So yeah, you still are going to need the human element though, but absolutely use AI.
So AI, when you're screening people for a job, how do you do it? How does it work? You screen them, their background, and how does it go?
So I'll focus in on what we do best, which is high turnover industries. So normally it's an hourly wage person, maybe restaurant, retail, outdoor servicing things, whether it's cleaning, window cleaning, pressure washing, residential home cleaning, all those things, high turnover industries. And so one of the questions, we've got three categories. I'm glad you asked. We've got three categories. The first category is this. Now, let me preface this by telling you how we got to think, why is this an important thing we should ask? What is that category? Why is it important? So we were collecting data on how people were answering questions, and we were collecting it not just from our own company, but also from our buddies that were helping us put this together, because we asked them, we need you to help us put this business model together. So we were collecting data on how they were answering certain things and this and that. And so, like most entrepreneurs and business owners, my brain goes like this. Oh, I can't move much. My background will get goofy. My brain goes like a hamster wheel. So I'm getting this data. By the time I'm done with this data, I think I can build a car with it, right? So my team knows me better, and they smack me around in the face a little and go, focus on what we're trying to do here. So I have this thing where I say, okay, team, magic wand time. Let's forget what we know. Let's forget what we think we know. If there was only one piece of data that we can uncover on somebody applying for a job for our clients, one piece of data, what's the most important thing we can come up with?
Smart.
And it was this. Are you going to last a long time with our company or not?
But they lie sometimes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? How do you figure that out then, right? That's the question.
Yeah.
Here's how we do it. I'll give you one example. So this is a little secret sauce. And I'll give you one that is worth tens of thousands of dollars, and I'll give that to you.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the first category, how long are you going to last? Here's an example of a question that we asked. Out of these three things, what would upset you the most if you got this job? Now, it's a drop-down menu on our online application, and they have to choose one of our three, because I've got data that tells me the best answer, the okay answer, and the worst answer. And we've got a scoring system for each answer. We score the best answer, obviously high, and so on. So one of the answers they can choose is, remember this now, drop-down menu. Out of these three things, what upsets you the most if you got this job? One answer is this. Somebody's always showing up late to work, and the owner or manager never says a word about it. Okay? That's a very unassuming answer. It doesn't scream out there's a serial killer applying for the job, right? It's a very reasonable answer if you think about it. I don't care about what's reasonable, unreasonable, what Shawn's gut feeling is, or what I might think about this. I want the data. Here's the data. Those that answer, someone's always late to work and the owner or manager doesn't say anything about it, on average last 9 months or less with our company. Forget everything else. That's a powerful piece of data. It's proven to be true for almost every one of our clients that use our scoring system. Might not be exactly 9 months, might be 7 months, might be maybe a year, maybe 11 months, but not long enough. We want people that are going to last. Anybody in high turnover industries, restaurant, retail, window cleaning, pest control people out there that are doing things. Any one of those business owners would take a technician doing those things 2 years, 3 years. They'll take that every day of the week. So that's one example on how we find out if they're going to last long or not. That's a very different way of doing a DISC profile or predictive indexing or assessments. We also want to make sure they're a good fit for the industry. So we do have some questions with that. The other one that's very unusual, and for I think, I don't know of anybody else that does it. Over time, we found that by talking to business owners, talking to the managers, talking to our managers, and knowing our employees that are no longer with us, and some that are with us, there is a huge difference in an hourly rate, blue collar type of worker that understands business compared to somebody that doesn't. What do I mean by that? I don't expect them to write a SWOT analysis in our marketing strategy.
I know, right?
Right? But maybe they know, maybe their parents owned a business. Maybe they worked for their uncle's pizza place when they were teenagers. Maybe their best friend, their parents own a business. They know a business owner. Because what happens is something magical really happens with that. There's 4 really awesome traits that come to the surface. Not all 4 always, but if we get 2 of these 4, we say we got silver. If we got 3 of these 4, we got gold. All right. Here's what they are. Number 1, I hope I can remember them. Number 1, we tend to not have to babysit them.
Exactly.
That was a pet peeve of mine when I had 40 some technicians roaming around Northeast Ohio doing stuff. I don't want somebody to call me and say, hey, the car's out of gas almost. What should I do? You've been here a year. You know the process. put gas in it. I'd be like, I don't know, check to make sure you fed your kids last week if you don't know what to do when something needs gasoline. We put gas in the car, right? So that's why I love that one. The second one is that they tend to have good judgment. Which couples with they tend to be good problem solvers. If there's one thing that business owners do day in and day out is solve problems. We've got, in my world, people come to me to solve their hiring problems, their retention problems. They've got cash flow problems, equipment breaking, government regulations, workers' comp, insurance. They're solving problems every single day of the week, okay? That's something that I want to know. What happens if we hire employees that are problem solvers? They're going to be solving those problems for you one day. We're just talking about a window cleaner, Shawn. Oh no. I want that window cleaner to have a career with you so that one day he's training people for you. Maybe one day we have an apprenticeship program that we tell our clients, look into this. Maybe one day you bring somebody in as a window cleaner and you train him as an apprentice from day one, everything that there is to know about the business. And when he or she proves themselves, maybe they come in the office and they're doing phone stuff. How about they open up a location for you one day as the general manager? That's a 3-year plan that I think can happen with the right person that's a problem solver, has good judgment, knows something about business. The third one is they tend to have great loyalty. And I don't have to go into the importance of loyalty. That's another one. And the last one, we don't see this all the time. This is probably the one we see the least amount of time. They have good leadership skills. So we don't have to babysit them, good judgment, they're loyal, and hopefully they've got some good leadership skills. I'm just looking for a window cleaner, not us. We're looking for a career employee for you. That's what we're doing. We take it to a whole different level. So we're trying to change that perception and mindset with our clients in that regard. And it's working out really well. The $10,000 one, let me tell you that before we move on. This one is worth tens of thousands. Steal this from me, please. And it's this. On a scale from 1 to 10, rate your luck in life. Okay? Rate your luck in life. Now, you know where I'm headed with this, right? It's the Debbie Downer, the doubting Thomas, the negative person. Here's the magic number. And this has 2 exceptions to the rule. The magic number is those that answer under a 6. The rate your luck in life under 6. Yep, they're negative. But the thing we found is this. They take 0 ownership when things go wrong. It's never their fault. It's your fault. It's the equipment's fault. It's the customer's fault. And they're never late to work, by the way, because it's the alarm clock's fault, not their fault. It's their kid's fault getting them to school. It's the thing that is most important with this question is this. In the high turnover industries that are hourly rate blue collar workers, which are the backbone of this country, by the way, okay? These people that answer under 6 last a whopping 3 to 4 months or less with our company, and it's proven to be true for almost all of our clients that we recruit for in about 33 different states around the country right now. That's a very potent question. It is hard to get to an interview table if you answer that one under a 6. Okay, real quick, 2 exceptions to that rule because it's important. It's the only question that we ask them to explain their answer because we're in the people business. We're going to read that answer. Here's the 2 exceptions to the rule of under 6. One exception is it's always either a 5 or a 0, like 99.99% of the time, a 5 or a 0. And it's followed up with something like this as to their explanation. I don't believe in luck. I believe in working hard and telling the truth and letting the chips fall because that's all I can control. And I'll do the same thing for you if you hire me. I'm not going to penalize somebody for answering a 5 or 0. They answer a 5 or 0 because they don't believe in luck. With that explanation, my AI isn't going to pick that up all the time and that explanation because there's some gray area in that explanation because we're in the people business. I want to read that. I want to take a look at it. We will manipulate the score because we score that, remember. I don't want somebody being penalized for that great answer. So that's one exception. The second exception to the under 6 rule is a but. I call it the but explanation. And it's something like this. Normally I'm very blessed in life. I got great family, great friends, but just found out mom's got stage 4 cancer. but my daughter just got in a really bad accident. I'm not feeling really lucky right now. If they kind of can tell us that they're normally blessed and normally things are great, but I'm not penalizing somebody for finding out their mom has got cancer. If somewhere in there they explain that normally I'm very blessed in life and things are great and so on. Take that question and it'll be the best question you ask anybody. It's an amazing question.
Tell me, well said, and thank you for educating me. I'm just listening because I really feel like, I'm internalizing what you say. So tell me about the first day you developed the algorithms and or artificial intelligence to be incorporated in job previewing.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we did was we were really good at sort of the technician side of it. So I said, we've got clients now that, let's say we took a pressure washing company that started with, they've got 5 employees, 4 employees, they come to us. I'm growing my company. So we'll get them enough technicians where they're making enough money and growing big enough where now they need office help, right? And we weren't really prepared for that at the very beginning. Or I really need a customer service rep now, or I need a salesperson now because I can't keep up with the amount of sales we're generating now. So we were hiring ops managers. So we were taking we were telling AI, we need this blue collar type of assessment, but we need you to help us figure it out for a salesperson. And we need you to figure it out for an ops manager, specifically for this type of company. And then we said, well, wait a minute, we got to add specifically this culture for this company. So AI isn't a template that we use. We'll put the culture in and core values for each individual client. I still have regard for that. I don't want it to be a template for one size fits everybody because it doesn't. Exactly. I've got a client with a culture that he's like, I've got beer in the fridge, I've got pinball machines and all this stuff. His culture, Kimberly, his culture is if I'm not going to go have a beer with you, you can't work for me. That's his culture. Now that doesn't work for everybody, obviously, So I want to make sure that it's tailored. AI is tailored to your needs in that regard. And we started to create really good assessments for other job titles and other positions. So we've done, we were only doing this for the home service industry. Well, now I've done daycares, dental offices, chiropractors, physical therapists. We've had an attorney reach out to us. We're not doing that quite yet. So we've diversified, not because that was part of our strategy, but because we were executing on these things because we wanted to help our clients grow. And we get to a point sometimes where we've got somebody that's multi-million-dollar and they're like, man, we're going to bring this in-house and you taught us how to do this. And in fact, you found the person for us in the office that's going to be, we're promoting them into an HR position. And we sit there and we go, high five to us, man. Absolutely. If you ever need anything, let us know. Now, we've got some other things that are sticky where we're going to allow them to use our platform without needing us to be their full-time recruiting department. So isn't it going to be easier that you use our platform? We're just not going to manage anything for you. You do what you want to do with it, but at least you're already on here. So that's how we started to do it for that. What we're doing now is using AI to the employee end of it. So we want to do assessments for your A employees. And we want to know why they're your A employees and how they're answering so that we can ask that same assessment in the pre-employment stage as well, because we want to copycat your A employees. So we're just now starting to do some of that because we've been doing it long enough. And technology is helping us do it faster.
Based on what's going on with the AI technology that you use, do you have a way that you work on the amount that you hire the people based on how the client or the employee answers? They fill it out, to the best of their ability. And you're like, well, I want her to work in this sector for this amount based on how she answered. Can you give me a little bit insight on that?
So are you asking, I'm not sure what you're asking because my brain's go, I already was answering as you're asking the question and I don't know if I've got the right question.
Your technology, basically, people fill out the application to the job and they answer the questions based on how you created the technology and the AI. Right. So when you look and read through it or get AI to help you, how do you place them in like the amount of money? Like, it does their job have a higher turnover rate where they're based on your technology, they're staying put for longer periods of time versus they're not quitting,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the number one feedback and sort of good reviews we get from our clients is that the quality of candidate and employee is through the roof compared to what we were doing. And it's all because of that screening system that we have in the questions, to your point, Kimberly, those questions that we were formulating based on data. And so that helps us get higher quality candidates. And that's what it's all about, is getting them to the interview table. Because unlike staffing and temp agencies and recruiting agencies, we feel that an hourly rate employee in a high turnover industry, for us to do that interview is we're stealing your opportunity to start building that relationship with that person. You should be, as the owner or manager of the company, doing those interviews, not me. I hand them off to you and I interviewed them. They're going to you now. You need to build that relationship and feel that vibe when you're interviewing somebody and know if they're going to fit and look at how they're answering the questions, not just hearing them. So we do a lot of training on interviewing as well. So yes, they last longer because we have a higher quality candidate.
And how do you how much does this technology that you develop cost to engage in different businesses so you can find a good quality employee? This is a very good business breakthrough to me.
We love it. We love it. It's different. It's really revolutionary. And you know how I know it's really, really good and revolutionary? Because now we've got about 3 or 4 competitors that are copying what we're doing. and I used to get bummed out a little bit about that. And number one, I know all of them, and I've met their spouses because they're in our industry, so they're good people. Mm-hmm. But Dan, my partner, he says it's only helping the entire industry, and we were the leaders and pioneered that. And that's how I look at it now. Good for us for pioneering this whole new way, a lot cheaper way, a lot better quality way for the homes, the guy or gal that owns a flipping house cleaning business or a window cleaning business. There's some doing millions of dollars. And we revolutionize a way that doesn't cost them a fortune. There was no other way until we came along to put this sort of a subscription business model month to month where you pay us a few $100 to be your full-time recruiting department. That's really what we do. And our competitors still don't do what we do because we offer they call themselves technology companies. We are a technology company that we're your full-time recruiting department. We still have people that are helping you with your strategy and helping you do things. And by the way, do you know what Google's got on the horizon? You don't? I didn't think so. So that's a technology company ain't going to tell you that. All right. Yeah. We will. That's what I do. That's why we wanted. If you hire Joe Smith or Jane Smith to be a recruiting director for you, you'd expect things of that person. They'd have to probably research your labor market, report some things to you. We do that. You probably are going to want them to put a budget together for your division of the company. We will put a budget together for our client and say, this is what we would do if we owned your company. This is what we would budget. And then, well, Jane or Joe, recruiting director, what's your strategy on executing for our hiring needs? We put a strategy together for our clients. And then we manage it for them. And that's never been done before until we did this and started this 8 or 9 years ago. Is
this patent?
I wish. It's not licensed. It's not patent. It's never been something in our vision to do that. It's our vision is just we educate and people accuse me of giving away the secret sauce all the time because I do. I mean, I told you the best question we have. I could keep that for myself. I present it and I tell people this and I tell you how we do it. My goal at the end of a conversation when I'm on a Zoom or a demo with somebody or talking about recruiting, My goal is at the end of that conversation that you are 100% more confident that you're going to execute on your hiring needs, whether you hire us to do it or not. Because I want to tell you how to do it. I want to teach you how to do it. The bottom line is going to be, do you want to pay us a few $100s a month to do it for you or not? That's it. That's the only difference, because you can do it on your own, and I'll answer a phone call. If you say, Shawn, I ain't paying you guys to do it, I'm going to call you, though. I'll take that call. I'll take that call.
Where do you see yourself going in the future with this?
I think one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to have a community where we've got one of the business owners that has a company that he has called Click, Call, Sell. He's all about the marketing. I've got a buddy that does the bookkeeping guy, the bookkeeping beer and BS. His new company name is bestdamnbookkeeping.com. All right, the guy's a blast. Trust me, Dan Plata. He's got the bookkeeping down for small businesses. I'll find you the employees. So we've got the capacity and demand is the hardest thing in small businesses with high turnover. Capacity and demand to me is, well, how many people do you have scheduled on that board, or how many people do you have coming into your restaurant or your store, or how many are you have to go clean your windows or whatever it is? Well, how many employees do you have? When you can match capacity and demand, that's when you are most profitable. Mm-hmm. And so if we've got a marketing community and we've got a recruiting community for you, all in one platform, we're going to be putting the pedal down for you and putting the brake on for you. You don't even have to think about it. And by the way, you're going to be making more money than you thought. We better help you with the bookkeeping on that too. And we've got a financial genius that does the bookkeeping on our industry, the service industry. So he knows exactly what the margin should be because he sees them. He knows exactly what the pay should be. He knows exactly what the numbers should be in your industry because he's doing the books for dozens of your competitors, and he knows what those numbers are. It doesn't get better than that for a small business. And you're paying us a few $100s a month to do this for you. Stop anytime you want to stop. That's unheard of 10 years ago. That's not even in the game 10 years ago.
How does it work when you are starting off with just one employee? Like, do you pay them less? Do you pay them more? Do you have to have a budget already? How does it so you can hire another employee and
Yep.
get a higher turnover rate and production? Yeah. How does that work?
Great question. We have a lot of the people that are trying to get out of the field for the first time to hire and replace them, right? That's what a business owner and entrepreneur wants. Hire somebody to take your job so you can move on. And so what we do is we'll find the first one for them. Normally they're going to train them. And then once that person's all trained up and ready to go, the owner normally is in the field 50% less. So then what are you going to do with that 50% of the time you're not in the field? You better be recruiting and you better be hiring. I've got something that's called the ABCs of recruiting. And it's this, okay? Number one, high turnover industries, we've chosen those. That's the business we've chosen. If that's your business and you're a client of ours, high turnover. High turnover does not mean you need to be short-staffed. There's a difference there. Well, what's the difference? It's called ABCs, and that's always be recruiting. Always be recruiting. When you don't need to hire, you better still be interviewing. And we've got clients of ours that before they used us, that they would be, oh man, finally got two great women or guys or whatever, and life is good. We're cranking out. Now I'm selling again, and it's cranking out. And Joe breaks his ankle. You're back in the field. You just booked all these customers. You're never going to get to them. I need to start recruiting again. You're going to take a month or two to find that right person, or you're going to get really irritated and impatient and hire the wrong person. That's what happens most of the time. And that person's never going to last because it's the wrong person. Our view is when you get the right amount of people to clean or do whatever, that's the time you continue to interview. And when you need to hire, you just hired 2 people last week. Maybe they're already gone. That's fine. But you're going to be able to fill those shoes of that person in 1 or 2 weeks, not 1 or 2 months. That's a big difference. That could save you over a year, tens and tens of thousands of dollars very easily. Probably more than that if you've got more than 10 employees. hundreds of thousands of dollars if it's more than 10 employees.
One last question. In under 4 minutes, I need you to tell me, do you think that getting into a franchise with McDonald's is a great turnover rate or a great thing to get into? Or is it yeah.
As far as ownership wise?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's good for owners, not entrepreneurs. I think owners that want to own a business and want a turnkey thing in a system, I think that's fine. You're not an innovator. You're not a visionary. You're not an entrepreneur if you get into a franchise, in my view, because you can't go in and tell McDonald's we need to change the Big Mac. Okay. That ain't happening. All right. Number one, 10,000 Big Macs get sold every second. And an innovator is going to want to change some things, and it's a done deal. You're not an innovator. This is the franchise system. Take it or leave it. End of story. You're doing when, this is who you're hiring, this type of person. This is what you're training. This is how you're doing it. I don't care where you think the industry is going in 10 years. You're a franchise owner. You are going to do what we tell you to do, or you can't own the franchise. So now I like in entrepreneurs like Michael Gerber and E-Myth that talk about you still need systems. And we've had a lot of systems, but we've changed them. Yeah.
Real quick, how can the people reach you? Because we have 3 minutes left.
Yep. So you can reach me anywhere on Facebook. You can find me. Hire Lead Chill. HireLeadChill.com. You can find me anywhere. Go there. You can set up a call with me. It can be a demo on our services. It could be, hey man, how are you interviewing? How you doing this? What should I do that? I'm 56. I'm not motivated by money. I've been doing this for 35 years. I want to help. So I promise you, I will not hard sell a thing to you. You're either going to like what we do or not. I don't give a shit either way, to be honest with you. Sorry about that. Take it or leave it. But I do want to talk to you because I love talking and I know I can help you in one way, shape, or form, whether you hire me to do something or not. That's kind of irrelevant to me. I have about an 85% close rate from people that talk to me about it because it's really dynamic and it helps people execute on their hiring needs. And if we, last thing I'll say is Hire Lead Chill. I got a Facebook group, and you can go and join the Facebook group and hear so much more about what we do and the free stuff on how you can implement it internally for your own company before you want to maybe talk to me or try it on your own. Do it yourself. Not a problem. I have no problem with that.
I want to thank you so much for joining my show, and thank everybody who was watching. You take care, be safe, stay on the line, Mr. Shawn, and I will see you guys later. Bye. And we have a message from and Jim. He said, "Oh, that's interesting." So I just wanted to tell you that.
All right.
Bye. Stay on the line.